Hello everyone, this is Shadow. Due to copyright restrictions on YouTube, I can't publish many of the audiobooks you love. That's why I've created a special paid service where you can enjoy over 300 high-quality audiobooks from platforms like Webnovel, Pocket FM, Audible, Wuxia, and more. Each novel comes as a one-time purchase, no subscriptions, no hidden fees. After payment, you'll receive full access via Telegram, along with all future updates for that novel. You'll find a wide selection of your favorite genres and titles, always in premium audio quality. Check the full list of available novels in the description. DM me now to get your favorite stories in audiobook form and start listening today. Chapter 302-301. Bragg, leader of Iron Group. Alex's steps carry him deeper into the city until the sound of hammering steel draws his attention. Ahead, a wide, open-front weapon shop glows orange from the forges inside. Racks of blades, axes, and polearms line the walls. Some crude but powerful, others refined, almost regal. He walks in. The air is thick with heat and metal, every breath tinged with iron. A towering blacksmith, a four-armed ogre with soot-streaked skin, grunts a greeting but doesn't pry as Alex begins to look around. On a display table, he pauses before a sword forged from crimson steel, faint runes running along the edge. Mana-reactive alloy, he notes silently, brushing a gloved finger near it. Good, but too brittle for my use. While he studies the weapons, voices drift from the side of the shop. Two beastkin talking near the counter, their tones hushed but uneasy. Hey! The first monster murmurs, a wolf-headed warrior with a jagged scar over his eye. You heard the news from Silent Grove? The second, a shorter, stockier bearkin sharpening his axe, glances up. Silent Grove? What about it? I heard a whole horde of beasts were found dead there. The wolfkin says, voice lowering. Not just a few hundreds, even some tier SIXS among them. No one knows who or what could have done that. The bearkin's hand stills over the grindstone. That many? TCH. That's not just strange, that's bad news. If something's killing beasts in that number, the rest might panic. The wolfkin nods grimly. Exactly. You know how those creatures are. The lower tier ones barely think, they just follow instinct. But the tier 6s? They're smarter. Some of them lead packs, mark their own territory. If one of their kind dies, the rest might see it as an invasion. The bearkin exhales sharply through his nose. You mean a beast tide? Yeah. The wolfkin's tone tightens. If the beast king of Silent Grove decides someone's threatening his domain, he could rally every beast in that forest. And if that happens, the bearkin pushes his axe aside, worry creasing his brow. They'll raise the city in minutes. Broden's farther, we should move there. The two go quiet after that, their words swallowed by the ring of metal and the hum of the forge. Alex stands motionless near the weapon racks, eyes half-lidded, his expression unreadable. Silent Grove, he repeats inwardly. Hundreds of beasts dead. Sounds familiar. A faint smile touches his lips, brief and almost imperceptible. He turns away from the display and steps back into the cool mountain air. The city bustles on, unaware of the tension rippling beneath its surface. Alex doesn't dwell on it. Beast tides, beast kings. None of that concerns him right now. He turns his steps back toward the Adventurers Guild, the rhythmic clang of forges fading behind him. By the time he enters the tall, stone-walled building, the hall is more crowded than before. The warm light of mana lamps glows over rows of tables where adventurers eat, drink, and exchange missions. Near the counter, Boo stands speaking to a group of armored figures. At the sight of Alex, she straightens slightly and gestures for him to approach. Ah, you're back, Boo says with her practiced, cordial smile. Perfect timing. The Iron Group just arrived. Alex stops a few paces from them, his gaze calmly sweeping over the newcomers. 5 monsters stand together, each radiating power that weighs faintly on the air. Their equipment is worn but well-kept, the kind that's seen real battle. Boo motions toward them with a flourish of her hand. Allow me to introduce them. The one who steps forward first is massive. A bear-like monster nearly 8 feet tall, covered in dense, earthen-brown fur streaked with faint scars. His eyes are steady and dark, carrying a calm authority. The armor on his chest bears the emblem of a hammer and shield crossed. Leader of this group. He turns slightly, introducing the others in turn. This is Torin and Maeve. Bragg gestures toward 2 armored warriors behind him. Both roughly his height but leaner, their armor dulled by use. Torin, with his wolfish features and twin short swords, nods silently. Maeve, reptilian with scaled arms and a broad claymore strapped to his back, gives a respectful bow. There are frontliners, Bragg continues. Low-level tier 6s, but they can take on a middle-level Tier 6 beast if they work together. He glances to the side, where a slim, sharp-eyed woman stands. Her ears long and pointed like a jackal's, her cloak patterned in muted grays. That's Kyra, tracker and scout. Tier 6 as well, don't let her quiet look fool you. She's the one who makes sure we don't walk into death traps. Kyra's amber eyes meet Alex's briefly, then flick away, assessing. And lastly, Bragg gestures behind him. Our healer and mage Varen. The final member steps forward, his body lithe, robes trimmed with faded runes. His skin has a faint metallic sheen, his eyes soft silver. A pleasure, Varen says with a small smile, bowing faintly. I specialize in support magic and mid-range control. You can rely on me for barrier setups and regeneration. Boo, standing nearby, folds her arms lightly. The Iron Group has one of the best success records in the guild. They're based here in Shade and often handle cross-region requests. Reliable and discreet. Bragg grunts in acknowledgement, then turns back to Alex. You're the one who requested an escort for your rank-up mission, right? Alex gives a simple nod. That's right. Bragg's thick arms cross over his chest, his heavy armor creaking softly. Then you chose the right group. We've helped plenty of solo adventurers complete their rank-ups before. He flashes a confident grin, the corners of his fanged mouth pulling upward. You won't find a steadier team in this city. Alex studies him briefly, expression calm. We'll see. Boo chuckles quietly from behind the counter, the sound smooth and measured. Well then, let's move on to your actual mission, shall we? Alex turns toward her. So, what is it? It's simple, Boo says, sliding a small crystalline plate across the counter. Its surface ripples with faint silver light, the mark of a high-tier assignment. You need to complete one diamond-ranked mission from the board. Alex glances at the board where dozens of missions flicker in glowing script. That's all. That's all, Boo confirms, but her tone carries a note of amusement. Though I wouldn't take it lightly. It may sound easy now that you have the Iron Group backing you, but completing a diamond mission isn't something most adventurers attempt. Alex raises a brow slightly. Is it that hard? Boo's smile widens a touch. It is. Understand that diamond missions aren't designed for solo work, at least not here. She gestures to the wide hall around them, where adventurers gather in small groups, all of them clearly seasoned. In other regions, powerful individuals sometimes take them alone. But in this part of Pharanthia, monster-owned cities are scarce. That means most diamond missions take place deep in human territory, or in unstable beast zones. Varen, the healer, adjusts his gloves as he listens. Which means heavy resistance and unpredictable interference, he adds thoughtfully. Boo nods. Exactly. It's not just strength you'll need. Coordination matters. And having a team increases your survival rate. Kyra leans slightly against a post, her voice quiet but firm. Last solo who tried was a high-level Tier 6. Never came back. Boo's tone softens, professional but sincere. That's why I'm assigning the Iron Group to you, Alex. Think of it as a partnership for this mission. Once it's complete, your rank up to Diamond will be officially recognized. Alex moves toward the glowing mission board, his boots clicking softly against the polished stone floor. The board hums faintly with mana, hundreds of requests shifting and fading in and out of view as adventurers browse. Most are gold or adamantine tier ordinary jobs. Beast subjugation, escort work, recovery missions. But near the top, two silver-edged crystals gleam faintly. The diamond-ranked missions. Alex stops before them, scanning both. Boo joins him, her tone light but measured. Only 2 available this week, she says. Diamond missions aren't posted often, usually handled by the guild's top members. Alex's eyes glide over the first one, reading the flowing script aloud. Diamond mission, Lost Citadel of Varroin. Investigate the ruins beyond the Blackveil Gorge. Multiple explorers have gone missing, cause unknown. Estimated threat, Tier 6. Objective: identify and neutralize the source of disappearances. Chapter 303-302. Silent Grove. He tilts his head slightly. A ruin dive with a chance of something interesting. Boo nods. High risk, high reward. It's been untouched for years, mostly because those who go never return. We've lost 5 teams there. Bragg grunts behind them, scratching his chin. We've been offered that one twice. Turned it down both times. Too many unknown variables. Unstable mana field. Collapsed tunnels, weird resonance interference. Kyra's tail flicks once, eyes narrowing. It's accursed ground. You can feel it when you get close. Alex hums softly, then shifts his gaze to the second mission. Diamond mission, Beast Tide Suppression. Silent Grove. Unusual activity detected in the Silent Grove. Multiple beasts slain under unknown circumstances. Reports suggest an imminent beast tide forming. Objective: investigate if the Beast King of Silent Grove is preparing for a best tide. A faint glint of amusement passes through his eyes. Silent Grove, he murmurs, tone unreadable. I've heard about that. Boo folds her arms, watching him closely. That mission came in just this morning. The guild received emergency requests from the city lord. If a beast tide forms and reaches this city, it could wipe out this city. Varen exhales slowly. That's a very hard mission. We'd be fighting for days if we take this mission. Maeve lets out a low chuckle. Days? Try weeks. The grove is massive. Bragg crosses his arms, glancing at Alex. If we take that one, it won't be a quick job, we'll be fighting for days. But the reward will be rich, after all, it comes from the city lord himself. You sure that's where you want to start, friend? Alex meets his gaze briefly, then looks back at the board. Fighting for days isn't exactly new to me. His hand rises, brushing lightly over the glowing text of Silent Grove. The glyphs flare once in recognition, locking the mission to his adventurer's seal. Boo tilts her head, a faint smile curving her lips. Oh, you picked that one. She taps the crystal plate lightly, and the mission sigil flickers in acknowledgement. It's not really a hard mission, as long as the Beast King doesn't see you. Bragg lets out a deep chuckle, his chest rumbling. That's one way to put it. He glances at Alex, the humor in his tone edged with caution. Though you'll be fighting a lot of beasts inside the Silent Grove, crawling with tier 5s. But don't worry, he gestures with a clawed thumb toward Kyra. We've got her. Best tracker in the region. If anyone can get us through that forest without waking the wrong thing, it's her. Kyra's tail flicks once, the faintest smirk tugging at her lips. Flattery doesn't make the trees any quieter. Bragg. But I'll keep you alive. Bragg grins. Good enough for me. He straightens, voice rising with command. All right, Iron Group, ready up. We leave in 20. Torin and Maeve exchange a nod, immediately heading for the armory wing. Varen adjusts the runed clasps on his robe and murmurs a faint incantation, his staff lighting briefly as he checks the mana reserves. Boo slides the mission plate into a containment seal and hands it to Alex. This authorizes you to leave the city under guild sanction. Once you complete it, return here and report directly to me. Good luck out there, Alex. The Iron Group moves with practiced rhythm through the city streets. Merchants and smiths pause to watch as they pass, the clank of metal boots and the faint hum of runic armor drawing attention. Before long, they reach a massive stone hangar carved into the mountain's edge. Its gates wide open, the air inside filled with the scent of oil, leather, and wild air. Several flying beasts rest in the enclosure, each bound by reinforced chains and harnessed for long-distance travel. The largest of them, a scaled, winged beast with 4 eyes and metallic feathers, raises its head at their approach. Its wings stretch slightly, sending a wave of wind through the hangar. Bragg pats the creature's thick neck as he walks up. There she is, our old girl Thundervane. She's been with us since our first platinum job. Varen smiles faintly as he inspects the flight sigils along its harness. And still in perfect condition. Kyra hops lightly onto the side platform, checking the packs and food storage. Everything's stocked and sealed. Enough rations for 2 weeks, maybe more if you all stop eating like orcs. Bragg grins and looks over his shoulder at Alex. You ever flown before? Alex steps closer, eyes sweeping over the beast's size and construction. A few times. Bragg chuckles, tightening a strap on his harness. Then hold on tight, friend. The grove's a long way off, and the skies above it aren't exactly calm. Alex simply nods, stepping onto the platform as the others climb aboard. The beast lets out a low rumble that vibrates through the floor, its wings spreading wide. With a thunderous beat of wings, Thundervane launches into the sky, leaving a trail of dust and light swirling behind. The city of shade falls away beneath them, the mountains shrinking to jagged silhouettes as they head toward the distant, ominous expanse of Silent Grove. The flight takes hours. Wind screams past their ears as Thundervane cuts through the sky, the great beast's wings beating steady and powerful. Below them, the mountains give way to endless green, an ocean of forest stretching to the horizon, cloaked in fog and shadow. By the time they near the Silent Grove, the sun is dipping low, painting the clouds in deep amber and crimson hues. The temperature drops noticeably, the air carrying a thick, almost tangible pressure, like the forest itself is watching. Bragg raises a hand from the front harness. Bring her down here. Kyra tugs on the control reins, and Thundervane lets out a low, reluctant growl before beginning her descent. The closer they get, the denser the mist becomes, swirling up like ghostly fingers from the canopy. When they finally touch down on a narrow clearing at the forest's edge, the earth shakes slightly under Thundervane's weight. The flying beast folds her wings and exhales a gust of hot air, tail flicking with unease. Maeve hops off first, boots crunching against the mossy soil. TCH. Even the air feels wrong here. Varen's eyes flick around as he murmurs a detection spell, his staff glowing faintly. The mana concentration's thick, unnaturally so. Bragg pats Thundervane's flank, soothing her before motioning to the group. All right, dismount. We'll go on foot from here. Too dangerous to fly over this place. Half the beasts down there are fast enough to clip her wings before we can react. Alex steps down last, landing lightly beside them. His gaze sweeps the treeline, calm and focused. He can still sense faint traces of the auras he once erased, the echoes of where beasts had died by his hand. The others don't notice. To them, this place feels alive with danger. To Alex, it feels empty. Bragg adjusts the straps on his armor and gestures ahead toward the dark stretch of trees. Now, before we go too deep, listen up. The reason this forest's called Silent Grove isn't because it's peaceful. Far from it. Torin grunts softly. Yeah. Ironic name if you ask me. Bragg chuckles under his breath, eyes narrowing slightly as he continues. It's called that because the beasts here prefer silence. They don't roar, don't howl, don't give away their position. Most of them, wind or shadow types. Quick bastards. You won't hear them until their claws are already at your throat. Maeve smirks, drawing his claymore and resting it on his shoulder. Sounds fun. Kyra rolls her eyes. You won't be laughing when one drops from the canopy and takes your head off. Bragg ignores the banter, his tone steady and commanding. Stay close, follow Kyra's lead. She'll sense movement before the rest of us. Don't light torches unless necessary. The beasts are drawn to fire, and the shadows play tricks here. We keep formation. Frontliners in front. Varen mid. Alex and Kyra take the sides. Alex nods faintly, his expression calm and unreadable. He knows this place well enough, after all, he's the very reason this mission exists in the first place. But he says nothing. Understood. Alex replies simply. Kyra glances at him as they start moving, her voice low. You don't talk much, do you? Alex's gaze stays forward, his tone level. I only talk when it's worth the breath. That earns him a faint smirk from her before she disappears into the underbrush, her form blending into the shifting mist. Bragg lets out a quiet grunt of approval. I like his style. The group pushes deeper into the forest. The sound of the wind fades, replaced by a stillness so complete it presses against the ears. Every footstep feels loud. Every breath hangs heavy. Varen mutters softly. Now I see why they call it Silent Grove. Bragg's voice comes from ahead, low and grim. Yeah, the silence here ain't natural. It's the sound of something waiting. Chapter 304-303. High-level Tier 6 Beast. The deeper they go, the thicker the silence becomes. Even the rustle of leaves sounds cautious. Mist curls around their legs, faintly glowing where moonlight slips through the canopy. Every shadow looks like it could move at any second. Kyra kneels suddenly, her tail flicking once as she presses her ear to the mossy ground. 203. About 50 meters ahead, she murmurs. Wind types. Small, fast. Bragg gestures subtly with 2 fingers, and the group halts in unison. Maeve shifts his stance, his claymore humming softly with restrained energy. But Kyra raises a hand. Wait. A few heartbeats later, faint ripples of air stir the mist. 3 sleek shapes dart through the shadows. Wolf-like beasts with translucent fur and glowing blue eyes. They move soundlessly, the wind bending around their bodies like obedient servants. Kyra's eyes narrow. They're not attacking, scouting behavior. That's unusual. Bragg grunts, scanning the treeline. Maybe the packs are reorganizing. Beasts don't normally show discipline like that. Varen hums under his breath, runes flickering along his staff. Could be the Beast King's influence spreading again. Alex listens quietly, his eyes faintly reflecting the ghostly light. He can sense all of them, not just the 3 ahead, but the dozens farther in. Tier 5s, Tier 6s, even something deeper, coiled and slumbering beneath the grove. He could erase them all with a thought. But that isn't why he's here. I'll limit my strength, he thinks calmly. Only what an ordinary low Tier 6 would use. I need to see what they're capable of. The wolves melt back into the fog, and Kyra exhales slowly, standing. They're gone. Moving east, away from us. Good, Bragg says, motioning forward. Let's keep moving. Kyra, keep the lead. She nods, slipping ahead once more. Her steps are silent, precise, barely disturbing the ground. Alex watches her work for a moment. She's efficient, instinctive. She doesn't just see with her eyes. She feels the movement of mana around her. like a tracker born of the forest itself. Torin breaks the quiet with a low mutter. Still weird to walk through a forest this quiet. I'd almost prefer something screaming at us. Maeve smirks. Don't say that too loud, or you'll get your wish. Kyra whispers back from the front. He would. Bragg chuckles softly. Focus. The silent grove doesn't forgive noise. Alex's gaze drifts briefly to the mist-covered distance. A flicker of movement catches his eye. Something darting between the trees at impossible speed. To the others, it's invisible. To him, it's clear as day. A predator gliding through the air, blending with the wind currents. It slithers past them harmlessly, never sensing their presence. Still, Alex notes its tier and elemental resonance. Tier 6, wind affinity. A sharp whistle of air cuts through the mist, then silence again. Bragg's head snaps up, eyes narrowing. Incoming. The ground shudders as a massive blur bursts from the right flank, tearing through branches and fog like a blade. The beast hits the clearing in a cyclone of wind and force. Sleek silver fur, claws like blades of stormlight, and for glowing eyes that track everything at once. Its body hums with compressed air, the faint whistle of wind magic twisting around it like a living armor. A razor claw? Varen mutters, stepping back and raising his staff. High level, tier 6. Bragg's stance lowers instantly, boots grinding into the soil as cracks form beneath his feet. Positions. He roars, voice cutting through the silence like thunder. Kyra vanishes into the mist in a blur of movement, twin daggers glinting green as they slice through the air. Maeve and Torin move side by side, their weapons drawn, while Varen raises his staff, mana already swirling in complex patterns around him. Alex stands at the edge of the formation, calm and watchful. His eyes follow every movement, not to intervene, but to measure. The razor claw doesn't wait. It lunges, its body a streak of silver wind. Bragg meets it head-on, his gauntlet slamming into the ground. Tier 6 skill, Tremor Guard. The forest floor erupts, jagged earthen pillars bursting upward to block the beast's path. The razor claw's claws screech against stone, sparks and air blades tearing through the mist. Move! Bragg barks, shifting forward. He thrusts his hand out, and stone ripples like liquid, swallowing his arm up to the elbow. Tier 6 skill, Stone Fang Burst. A line of spikes launches from the ground in a wave, slamming into the razor claw's flank. The beast screeches, a sharp, cutting sound that vibrates through the air. Kyra reappears behind it, her body wrapped in emerald light. Tier 6 skill, Wind Step Crescent Dance. She slashes twice, wind blades tracing arcs through the beast's fur, cutting shallow lines across its back. But the creature twists faster than sight, backhanding her with a burst of compressed wind. Kyra tumbles through the air, twisting mid-fall and landing on one knee. Tisich! Its reaction speed's insane, she mutters, spitting blood. Keep pressure, Bragg yells. Don't let it charge. Torin steps forward, his greatsword raised high. On it! His blade hums with rippling blue mana as he swings downward. Tier 6 skill, Aqua Edge Divide. A crescent of compressed water arcs forward, colliding with the razor claw's shoulder. It tears through fur and muscle, spraying droplets of blood that instantly evaporate in the swirling air. Maeve follows up from the opposite flank, slamming his claymore into the ground. Tier 6 skill, Tidal Cage. The soil liquefies, transforming into spiraling columns of water that crash together, trying to trap the beast in a sphere of crushing pressure. For a moment, it works. The razor claw thrashes, water churning violently around it. Now Varen! Bragg roars. The mage plants his staff into the earth. Runes light up in a chain reaction, weaving through the ground and the air like glowing veins. Mana weave, focus field. A shimmering dome expands from the center of the team, bolstering their mana control. Bragg's muscles tighten. Kyra's wind flares brighter. Torin's sword hums louder. Boost active. Varen shouts. Go! Kyra dashes in again, faster this time. Her form blurs, wind trailing behind like ribbons. She crosses the razor claw's path in a flash. Tier 5. Wind Rend. Her daggers carve twin glowing lines across its face. The beast howls, wind magic erupting from its body in violent bursts. Brace! Bragg growls, raising his hands. Tier 5. Earthen Wall. Massive slabs of rock rise just in time to intercept the backlash. Wind blades slam against the barrier, exploding in sharp bursts of pressure and dust. Bragg grits his teeth, bracing his stance as cracks spider through the wall. Push through, he bellows, and with a surge of mana, the barrier shatters outward, turning the broken earth into hundreds of flying shards. The improvised barrage slams into the razorclaw side, staggering it. Now! Torin and Maeve charge together. Torin's sword glows a deep, oceanic blue, while Maeve's claymore gathers swirling water around its edge. Their weapons strike in unison, crossing arcs of water that shear through the beast's chest. The razor claw lets out a distorted snarl, its body rippling with wind energy as it tries to counterattack. But Varen's voice cuts through the chaos. Tier 5. Mana Seal. Gravity Well. The runes beneath the razor claw ignite, forming a black circle that compresses the surrounding mana. The air thickens, dragging the creature down. Its wings falter, the wind armor flickering as the magic around it destabilizes. Bragg doesn't waste the opening. His gauntlets turn brown with pulsing earth energy as he roars. Tier 6. Stone Breaker Fist. He drives his fist into the beast, and in the next instant, an earthen spike erupts from Razorclaw's body. The creature lets out a piercing shriek that cuts through the fog before collapsing to the ground with a thunderous crash. Only the faint hiss of dispersing mana remains. Kyra straightens, brushing leaves off her armor and letting out a low whistle. Damn, that was faster than I expected. Bragg turns to them, satisfied, a wide grin under his beard. Not bad at all. Textbook execution. Clean, fast, minimal mana waste. He glances at Alex, who's been standing silently the entire time, arms crossed, watching. So, what do you think, friend? Did we do good? Alex meets his gaze calmly. You all did good. Your coordination is seamless. Bragg chuckles. Heh, that's high praise, coming from you. Varen tilts his head slightly, studying Alex. There's something in his eyes. Curiosity mixed with quiet recognition. Sir Alex, he says softly. You must be a king in the lower continent. Bragg blinks, half turning toward him. What makes you say that? Varen adjusts his grip on his staff, his tone thoughtful. The way he carries himself. His composure. The way he speaks, commands even when silent. He hides it well, but that kind of presence doesn't come from a soldier or a noble. It's the air of someone used to being obeyed. Someone who leads. Chapter 305-304. The Beast King awakens. Kyra glances back at Alex, one eyebrow raised. A king, huh? Alex's expression doesn't change. He doesn't deny it, nor does he confirm it. You have good eyes, Varen. Varen smiles faintly. Just experience. Bragg snorts, clapping his massive hand on Varen's shoulder. Careful, you'll make him blush. Kyra smirks. I doubt he even knows how. The group laughs lightly, the tension from the battle dissolving into the mist. Maeve looks out toward the horizon where the forest stretches endlessly into fog. His voice turns quieter. You know, if only we could leave this continent. Bragg glances at him. Huh. Maeve shrugs, his tone half wistful, half teasing. I heard the lower continents are free lands, less controlled by the top forces. If we could get there, a tier 6 group like us could build a kingdom. I heard that's enough power to rule. Torin chuckles. Build a kingdom, he says. You'd probably drink yours dry in a week. Kyra grins. And tax the ale first. Even Varen smiles softly. Still, the thought isn't foolish. Tier 6 power is respected anywhere. Bragg crosses his arms, gaze drifting toward Alex again. Yeah, if only. A man could start fresh, carve out a throne with his own hands. Alex's eyes remain fixed on the horizon, his voice quiet but steady. Power alone doesn't make a kingdom. It's the will to shape it that does. The group falls silent for a moment. The mist swirls around them, faint traces of light filtering through the canopy. Then Bragg lets out a low chuckle. Heh, spoken like a real king. Somewhere deep within the heart of the silent grove, where light barely reaches and the air itself hums with pressure, a colossal shape lies coiled beneath the roots of an ancient, petrified tree. The ground there is cracked, yet alive, breathing with faint pulses of emerald light that spread outward like veins. The sleeping beast exhales, and the entire grove seems to tremble. The mist thickens, as if afraid to drift too close. Then its eyes open. Twin slits of gold slice through the darkness. The surrounding mana surges in response. A low, rumbling hum echoing through the forest like distant thunder. All at once, dozens of nearby beasts, wolves of wind, serpents of shadow, and horned felines cloaked in mist, freeze where they stand. Even the high-level tier 6s bow their heads instinctively, trembling beneath that gaze. The creature rises slowly, its movement both graceful and terrifying. The creature rises slowly, its massive form unfolding from the earth like a living mountain. Bark and soil fall from its body as it stretches, revealing scales that shimmer between obsidian black and dark jade. Each scale glows faintly at the edges, veins of green light pulsing through them. Two horns curve backward from its skull, ridged with faint runic lines, glowing faintly with embedded mana. Its wings, vast and tattered like shadows woven with stormlight, unfurl with a low groan, scattering debris across the cavern. They aren't quite draconic, nor purely beast-like. Each membrane ripples like condensed energy, not flesh. Its head resembles that of a western dragon, yet sharper and leaner, the muzzle more predatory. A faint crest of spines runs down its back, each spine edged with metallic sheen. When it exhales, faint arcs of lightning and smoke drift from its nostrils, filling the air with a scent of burnt ozone. This is the Beast King of Silent Grove, a creature born of wind and earth, carrying a fragment of dragon blood, a reminder of an ancient lineage that once ruled the skies. The ground around it hums as its aura spreads outward. Every lesser beast in the region feels it. 10 Tier 6 monsters bow their heads, trembling. Some whimper, their instincts screaming submission. A few high-level Tier 6, the apex predators of the grove, lift their heads in defiance at first, but even they soon lower their gazes, forced down by the sheer weight of its presence. 3 peak Tier 6 beasts stand at the edge of its den. A massive thunder ape, a 6-legged obsidian feline, and a dark serpent that coils around a fallen tree. They do not move, but their eyes are sharp with fear and respect. The Beast King's voice echoes, not as sound, but as intent, vibrating through the mana itself. I can feel it again, that presence. The voice rolls through the forest like a whisper carried on a storm. Deep, resonant, ancient, and intelligent. The air itself ripples with the weight of its intent, trees creaking as mana shudders through their roots. Its eyes narrow, a flicker of irritation gleaming within them. That same intruder scent. The same will that dared to stir chaos in my territory earlier. It raises its head fully now, horns scraping faintly against the ceiling of stone and roots. With every breath, the mist shifts, drawn toward it like prey to a predator. The faint golden light within its chest brightens, outlining the faint symbol etched upon its scales. A spiral sigil shaped like a dragon's eye. All around, the forest responds. Beasts tremble, shadows bend, wind currents halt. The grove itself seems to listen. A deep growl rumbles from the Beast King's throat, low and commanding. Seek. The word isn't spoken aloud, it reverberates through the minds of every beast under its rule. The weaker ones collapse instantly, overwhelmed by the sheer will transmitted through mana. The high-level Tier 6s, the wolves of Gale and the serpents of dusk, rise, eyes glowing faint green and silver. They understand the command instinctively. The 3 peak Tier 6s remain still, heads lowered, waiting for further instruction. But the command never comes. The Beast King's eyes flicker once more, then dim, their molten glow fading into a dull, ember-like shimmer. The air stills. The green light pulsing through its scales slows, then steadies into silence. The great creature exhales, a deep rumble echoing through the earth. The sound rolls outward like distant thunder before fading into the mist. The peak-tier beasts lift their heads slightly, waiting, unsure. But no new intent follows. Instead, the Beast King lowers its head again, curling its colossal body back beneath the petrified roots. Its wings fold in, talons sinking into the soft moss and cracked stone. The grove itself seems to breathe easier as the pressure recedes. And then, with a long, heavy breath, the creature slips back into slumber. The forest stills once more. The only sound left is the quiet hum of the mist, winding through ancient trees. Back near the outer edge of the silent grove, the Iron Group continues their cautious advance. Kyra moves at the front, her movements fluid and precise. Every few steps, she crouches, listening, testing the air, tracing faint mana trails on the bark of ancient trees. Thanks to her instincts, they've avoided half a dozen roaming packs already. Bragg, ever the anchor of the group, adjusts the heavy pack on his shoulder and sighs. I'll say this again. Remind me to never doubt your nose, Kyra. Kyra glances back with a grin. It's not my nose. It's the way the wind moves here. The beasts carry their scent differently. Like the forest itself warns you, if you listen close enough. Still sounds like magic to me, Torin mutters, keeping his sword half-drawn as his eyes scan the fog. Varen hums quietly, looking amused. Observation is a kind of magic too, in a way. Most just don't realize it. Bragg waves a hand dismissively. Bah, call it what you want. I'll stick to my fists. Alex walks at the rear, silent, his gaze occasionally drifting toward the canopy. His senses spread wider than the others could possibly imagine. Every heartbeat, every flicker of mana around them mapped effortlessly in his mind. The beasts still move in the distance, but they're scattered, restless, yet hesitant, almost as if something had stirred them. After another few minutes, Bragg halts and pulls a folded piece of parchment from a reinforced pouch. The edges are worn, water-stained, but still legible. He crouches, spreading it across a patch of moss-covered ground. All right, he says, rubbing his chin. According to this, the Beast King's lair should be about here. He taps a spot deep in the map's center, marked by a jagged circle of ink. Kyra leans closer. That's in the heart of the grove. You sure this map's still right? Bragg lets out a wry grin. Not even close. This thing's nearly a year old. The guy who sold it to me claimed he pulled it off a Tier 6 explorer's corpse. Maeve snorts. That's comforting. Torin crosses his arms. So basically, we're wandering blind. Chapter 306-305. Going into the cave. They continue forward, weaving through the endless maze of mist and trees. Time loses its shape. Minutes stretch into hours. Hours blur into a rhythm of movement, silence, and sudden death. Every time a beast appears, a Tier 2, a Tier 3, sometimes even a Tier 4, they strike first. No hesitation, no mercy. Their blades and spells flash once, then silence follows. The carcasses vanish into the fog, and they move again. But something feels wrong. It starts as a pattern too subtle to notice. Then Kyra frowns, crouching low as she studies a patch of broken undergrowth. It's like they know exactly where we are, she murmurs. Bragg looks up from dragging a corpse into the shadows, his brow furrowing. Yeah, I've been thinking the same thing. A quiet tension settles over the group. Even the forest seems to hold its breath. Alex remains still, eyes half closed. His senses expand again, threads of mana stretching outward like ripples in still water. He feels it, their presence. Dozens of small movements, circling, drawing closer each time they change direction. They're being tracked. Kyra straightens suddenly, scanning the mist. Wait! She kneels again, her palm pressed against the earth. Her magic flickers faintly, the mist responding to her presence. But something's off. They keep moving. Slowly this time. Every sound feels sharper. The crunch of a boot, the whisper of wind through leaves, the distant growl of something they can't see. Minutes pass. Then, a low, guttural sound rolls through the fog ahead. A beast steps out. A hulking, scaled creature with spined shoulders and 4 glowing eyes. Tier 5. Bragg raises a hand, signaling silence. Don't let it scream. Kyra nods and vanishes into the fog, her presence folding into the mist like a phantom. Varen steadies his staff, muttering under his breath as faint lines of light crawl across the ground. Maeve draws his blades, eyes locked on the creature's throat. The Tier 5 beast sniffs the air, slow and deliberate. His 4 eyes narrow right before Bragg moves. He's a blur of muscle and steel, his fist crashing into the creature's ribs with a sound like thunder trapped in a jar. The impact sends it flying into a tree, cracking bark and bone alike. Kyra darts in next, blade slicing through one leg, severing tendons in a clean motion. Collapses, but before Bragg can crush its skull, it opens its maw. A single, strangled roar escapes, deep guttural ripping through the mist. Bragg curses, slamming his fist through the creature's head. Shit! The forest answers. The ground trembles, leaves shake loose from every direction, and an echo rolls through the trees, hundreds of cries responding to that one call. Kyra's eyes widen. Bragg! I know, he growls. We're screwed. Maeve lets out a dry laugh that cracks halfway through. We are dead. Run! Torin bellows. They move. The forest explodes around them. Shadows streaking through the fog, shapes too many to count. Tier 2s burst from the undergrowth, snapping and snarling. Tier 3s follow, their roars blending into a chaotic chorus. In the distance, heavier footsteps pound the earth, Tier 4s and worse. Kyra slashes through a lunging beast, her twin blades slicing clean through its neck. Left! She shouts. Bragg smashes another aside with his shoulder, the impact sending the creature crashing through a boulder. We can't fight them all. Move! Varen raises a hand, conjuring a blast of wind that sweeps through the path behind them, throwing dirt and broken branches into the horde's faces. That won't hold long, he warns. Torin grips his sword, aura flaring bright blue. Then we make it count. He spins, cutting through 3 beasts in a single sweeping arc before sprinting after the group. The mist turns crimson. Every second, a beast dies. The air reeks of iron and smoke. A pack of razor-backed wolves bursts from the side. Tier 4s, sleek and fast. Kyra throws a dagger mid-run, mana flaring along its edge. The blade detonates on impact, a flash of white light disorienting them for an instant. Bragg takes advantage, charging through, his fists slamming into 2 of them with enough force to break the air itself. Bones snap, blood sprays. Maeve leaps over a fallen log, spinning midair as he cuts down a lunging serpent beast. There's no end to them. Varen's voice strains as he channels more mana. They're converging, north, west, east, every direction. Kyra grits her teeth, eyes darting between paths. Then we make our own damn path, She raises both arms and slashes, her aura exploding outward. A cyclone of blades tears through the mist, shredding everything in a wide arc. Go! She shouts, sprinting through the gap before the mist closes again. The others follow, Alex silently bringing up the rear. As they flee, the ground begins to quake harder. A multiple roar echoes from the far distance. Deeper, older, powerful enough to shake the trees. Varen stumbles, eyes wide. That doesn't sound good. Bragg grits his teeth, sweat and blood mixing down his neck. Don't say it. Maeve glances back, his face pale. Tier 6. The next roar answers for him. The mist behind them splits apart as something massive moves. Branches snapping like matchsticks. Mana waves slamming outward. Run faster. Bragg shouts, slamming through a cluster of beasts trying to cut them off. Kyra's breathing grows ragged, her blades dripping. We won't outrun them forever. Alex's voice cuts through the chaos. Calm, sharp, absolute. Go left. No hesitation. No questions. Everyone veers left as one, boots pounding against moss and mud. The forest blurs around them. Trees flashing past, the roars behind them growing louder, closer. Then, through the mist, something dark yawns open in the slope ahead. A cave. Kyra gasps, disbelief mixing with relief. Bragg doesn't slow. Don't care what's inside, move. They dive in, one after another. The moment they cross the threshold, the outside noise dulls. Muffled but still there, a storm of sound pressing against the cave mouth. Bragg turns, bracing himself at the entrance, ready to crush anything that comes through. Varen! Kyra snaps. I know. Varen slams the butt of his staff into the ground. Pale blue runes spiral outward across the cave floor, vanishing into the stone walls like water being absorbed by sand. His eyes flash with silver light as he mutters under his breath. The air trembles faintly. The smell of damp earth fills the cave. For a heartbeat, there's nothing. Then the sound outside changes. The beasts skid to a halt. Their snarls echo, but none cross the threshold. Instead, they begin circling, confused, their cries fading as they scatter into the forest again. The group stays frozen until the last echo fades. Finally, Maeve exhales shakily, wiping blood from his chin. Hells! That actually worked. Varen collapses onto a rock, panting. Sweat drips down his temples. It will, for now. They'll sense the distortion soon if anything stronger comes close. Bragg lowers his arms, stepping away from the mouth of the cave. You better tell me that's at least an hour of cover. Varen manages a tired grin. If I were a battle mage, you'd have 10 minutes. But I'm a support mage, Bragg. My illusions don't just bend light. They redirect mana perception. Kyra leans against the wall, catching her breath. Meaning, Varen says between breaths. To their senses, this cave doesn't exist. Torin wipes his blade clean and slides it back into its sheath, his expression dark. We were seconds away from being surrounded and torn apart. Bragg cuts in with a shrug. Yeah, well, it didn't happen. So we deal with what's next. He shoots a glance at Alex. You're way too calm for someone who almost got eaten. Alex looks up from the faint shimmer still dancing across his palm. Remnants of a small barrier he'd silently cast while they ran. His tone is steady, almost cold. I'm used to this kind of situation. That's why. Bragg huffs out a laugh, shaking his head. You can't be a king if you're used to this kind of situation. Haha. So you, Varen, he points toward the mage, are wrong. He's not a king at all. Varen just gives a weak smile, still trying to catch his breath. Kyra rolls her eyes, still leaning against the wall. Bragg, how about instead of running your mouth, you think of something that'll actually get us out of this situation? Torin sits near the cave entrance, his blade resting across his knees. This was supposed to be a simple investigation, he mutters, his voice low and heavy. Maeve lets out a dry, humorless laugh. Yeah, well, looks like the Beast King of the Silent Grove isn't planning a beast tide after all. He gestures toward the cave mouth. Instead, it's like the beasts are hunting us. Like we're the ones who killed their loved ones. Chapter 307, 306. Unknown Place. Chapter 307. Chapter 306. Unknown Place. Bragg props his back against the cave wall and rubs at his temples. Okay. Let's rest a minute before we go any deeper. I don't know where this hole leads, but I hope there's a way out the other side. He gives a humorless chuckle. If not, we'll at least find somewhere to die comfortably. Kyra drops to a flat stone and pulls a strip of cloth from her pack. She works methodically, cleaning, binding, hands sure despite the tremor in the cave air. Comfortable? She repeats dryly, then slaps a salve onto a shallow gash on Maeve's forearm. Try not to make comfortable a habit. Maeve winces but manages a smirk. No promises. He leans his head back, letting the dim light of Kyra's floating orb wash his face. Around them the cave smells of damp stone and old roots. Drips from the ceiling keep time. Torin sits a short distance from the entrance, sharpening his blade against a slab of flint. Sparks flare and fade quickly in the dim light. I figured something like this might happen, he mutters. But it's still damn annoying to be stuck in it. Alex stands apart, hands tucked into the sleeves of his cloak. He doesn't fuss with salves or food. He watches the cave with the quiet focus of someone mapping lines on a page. When the others settle into their small routines, bandaging, tending bruises, trading jokes too brittle to be funny, he moves. He walks the passage with slow, deliberate steps. He runs his fingertips along the wall's rough surface, listens to the way sound bends here, follows tiny drafts that whisper cold against his skin. He marks the route with scratches, small notches and charcoal slashes. Simple signs anyone could follow. No showy light, no grand spell. Just the patient work of someone who's done this before. When he returns, he folds into a sitting position without fanfare. He doesn't say much at first, only watches as Kyra wipes a smear of blood from her blades and Torin checks a seam in his armor. Find anything? Kyra asks finally, nodding toward the faint charcoal trail on the wall where he's been. Alex looks up at her, his expression unreadable. Nothing much, he says easily. I just tried to see how far I could map this cave. Kyra tilts her head, skeptical. And I used my mana sense, Alex replies, keeping his tone casual, like it's nothing special. It went farther than I expected. Kyra narrows her eyes, curious now. Alex pauses just long enough to seem like he's thinking. A few 100 meters, maybe? Hard to tell exactly with the interference down here. The reaction is immediate. Kyra straightens, disbelief flashing across her face. A few 100 meters? You're kidding. Her tone isn't teasing. She's genuinely surprised. As a scout, she knows exactly how difficult it is to extend mana perception. Even Tier 6 scouts like her rarely push past 50 meters before the feedback becomes unstable. Maeve whistles low. That's more than a little impressive for a low Tier 6. Alex gives a faint shrug, eyes flicking down. Guess I got lucky. Maybe the rock's thinner in that direction. Kyra snorts. Yeah, sure. Maybe the cave just likes you. She leans back, one arm draped over her knee. I guess that means we've got a better shot at finding another exit now. Bragg pushes himself up with a grunt, brushing dirt from his gauntlets. All right, that's enough resting. We move now before those damn beasts start sniffing around again. Bragg then turns toward Alex. I guess that means we'll need your help for now. He claps a heavy hand on Alex's shoulder, more like a thud than a pat. You lead. If your mana sense goes that far, you're our best bet out of this pit. Alex nods, expression calm. Understood. He takes the front without hesitation, raising a faint light between his fingers, small, steady, just enough to mark their path. Inside, he hides a faint smile. Of course, he's already mapped every twist of the cave long before they rested. But he keeps his steps slow and deliberate, pretending to feel the air as he walks. Kyra follows close behind, her sharp eyes sweeping every shadow. If you sense anything alive up ahead, say it right away. I'm not in the mood for surprises. Noted, Alex says evenly. The group moves in a loose formation, Bragg and Torin at the sides, Maeve just behind Varen, who's still pale but focused. The only sounds are their boots scraping against stone and the steady drip of water echoing from deeper in the cave. After a few minutes, Alex raises his hand slightly. Movement ahead. Tier 3, maybe Tier 4. Kyra draws her blades in silence, her mana flickering faintly along the edges. Small group. 5, Alex replies. Then we don't waste energy, Bragg rumbles, cracking his knuckles. The beasts emerge a moment later. Lean, pale creatures with eyes that glint like wet stone. Tier 3s, maybe a stray Tier 4 among them. They hiss at the sudden light, claws scraping against the ground. Bragg steps forward and meets the first one with a single swing of his arm. The impact echoes, and the beast folds in half before it can scream. Kyra moves like a streak of silver beside him, blades slicing through 2 more in the same motion. Maeve's blade flashes once, clean and efficient, cutting through the neck of the 4th. The last beast lunges, but a small pulse of energy ripples from Alex's hand, invisible to everyone else. The creature seizes midair, then crashes lifelessly against the wall before anyone notices what happened. Kyra exhales. That was fast. Bragg grins. Good warm-up. They keep moving. The deeper they go, the thicker the air becomes, humid, metallic, with a faint vibration that hums beneath the stone. Varen's brow furrows. Something's off about this mana flow. It's like the deeper we go, the more the air itself starts to resist perception. Alex doesn't answer. He just keeps leading, guiding them steadily toward the place where his perception hits a wall. A void in the weave, silent and impenetrable. Kyra notices his slight change in pace. You sense something? Maybe. Alex lies smoothly. Could be a fork up ahead. Hard to read past this point. Good, Bragg mutters. Means we're getting somewhere. Just hope somewhere isn't straight into another nest. Only one way to find out, Kyra says, spinning one of her blades in her hand. They move as one, the flickering light bouncing off the damp stone. Every few steps, small creatures scurry away. Tier 2s mostly vanishing before they can even hiss. Nothing truly threatens them here, but as they draw closer, even the smaller beasts vanish. The cave grows unnaturally still. Varen frowns. The mana here, it's gone. Kyra slows beside Alex, tension rising in her voice. Gone. Varen presses his palm to the wall, eyes narrowing. Yeah, completely drained. I can still feel the structure of the elements, but there's no free mana left in the air. Torin's brows knit. You mean, it's empty? Is that even possible? Varen nods. Empty. Like something bled the mana dry. We can still use our skills, sure, but only from what's stored in our cores. 2 skills at most before we're tapped out. That draws a grim silence. Torin exhales, running a hand down his blade. Should we keep going, then? We're walking into a dead zone blind. Kyra glances at Bragg, her voice steady but edged with tension. If we stop, we're trapped. If we move forward, maybe we find a way out. Or die faster. Your choice. Bragg scratches his chin, thinking. The flickering light from Alex's orb paints harsh shadows across his scarred face. Finally, he grunts. Let's go. We don't really have a choice right now. Good enough for me, Kyra mutters, checking her blades again. They start forward once more, steps cautious and soundless. The air feels heavier now, dry and suffocating. Each breath burns faintly in their lungs, as though the cave itself rejects the presence of life. At the rear, Alex remains silent. He senses what the others cannot. A subtle rhythm, a pattern beneath the emptiness. The law of fire still linger here, faint but distinct. Even stripped of mana, the stone carries its memory. Tiny particles vibrating with heat long gone. Someone tampered with this place. Someone powerful enough to bend the law. A powerful tier 7 or above, he thinks, gaze flicking toward the cracks in the walls. Whoever they were, they burned this place clean. They move deeper until a faint glint catches Bragg's eye ahead. He quickens his pace. Wait! Look there! Chapter 308, 307, 3 doors. Chapter 308, Chapter 307, 3 doors. The others crowd behind him. At the end of the tunnel stands a massive door, broken clean down the middle, its edges melted like wax. Intricate sigils trace its frame, their glow long extinguished. Bragg's voice comes out breathless, trembling with excitement. Guys, do you see what this is? Varen steps closer, running a cautious hand near the melted surface. If I'm not wrong, this matches the old records. Hidden sanctums. Ruins left behind by beings of tier 7 or beyond. His tone turns reverent, almost awed. Places where they sealed their legacies, or their corpses. Maeve whistles under his breath. Too bad it's broken. Means someone beat us to it. Bragg waves him off, grin spreading wide. Doesn't matter. Even a crumb of a tier 7's junk could set us up for life. Weapons, artifacts, even residue crystals. We'd never have to fight another day. Kyra crosses her arms, gaze sharp. You're assuming whoever came here before didn't take everything. Bragg just laughs, eyes glittering with greed. Then we'll take what they left behind. Junk or not, it's still from a god's doorstep. Varen frowns faintly. Careful. If this was really shaped by a being of law, the remnants could still hold traces of their will. Even broken, it could. Bragg slaps his shoulder with a grin. Relax. If there was anything left alive in here, we'd be dead already. After a few minutes of tense silence, they decide to continue. Bragg pushes the halves of the door aside with a grunt, and the group steps into the darkness beyond. The faint light from Alex's orb stretches forward, revealing a long, narrow corridor lined with black stone. The walls are unnaturally smooth, almost glass-like, and the air feels heavier the farther they go. Maeve whistles softly, his voice echoing down the passage. Don't tell me this thing's a labyrinth. Varen studies the carvings faintly etched along the wall, lines that twist and fold into impossible shapes. It's possible. The architecture looks ancient. Back in the ancient ages, those at the top loved constructing labyrinths to guard their treasures or their secrets. Bragg groans, his earlier excitement dimming slightly. Great. Just what we needed. A damn maze. He kicks at a loose pebble, watching it skip ahead before vanishing into the dark. If only we are the first to find this place. Kyra moves up beside Alex, her tone practical but edged with unease. Can your perception still reach ahead? Mine's useless in here. It's like the air eats the signal before it goes anywhere. Alex shakes his head with practiced calm. Not at all, he lies. In truth, he can still feel it, the faint vibration of the labyrinth's structure resonating with the same fire law as before. His perception stretches far through the hall, reading the layered turns and chambers beyond. The design is deliberate, alive in some strange, quiet way. But, Alex says, lowering his voice slightly, we should be careful. If this is a labyrinth, then there'll be traps. Maybe even remnants of old constructs. Varen nods gravely. He's right. Ancient formations sometimes react to intrusion, especially if the source law is still active. One wrong step could trigger an elemental backlash. Torrin scoffs, though his grip tightens on his sword. Then let's just make sure we don't step wrong. Kyra glances back at Bragg. You heard him. Keep your steps light for once. Bragg smirks. You saying I'm heavy? Loud. Kyra corrects. If this place collapses, I'm blaming you first. Varen takes the lead this time, moving with the slow, deliberate caution of a man disarming an invisible enemy. His fingertips hover just above the floor and walls as faint strands of golden light flicker between them. His mana sight still working in flashes despite the drained air. Stay behind me, he murmurs, his voice low. I'll check for traps. Even a dead formation can leave behind a trigger. The others follow in single file. Their boots echo softly against the polished black stone, each step swallowed by the heavy silence pressing in from all sides. The air is stale, thick with the metallic scent of something long sealed away. Every so often, Varen crouches, tracing his hand over the ground where faint lines cross the stone. Old rune patterns, shattered beyond recognition. Destroyed, he mutters. Most of these traps are already broken. Whoever came here before us cleared the way. Bragg snorts. Lucky for us, then. Or unlucky, Kyra counters quietly. They move deeper, the corridor bending and stretching in strange angles that make no sense. Turns that seem to loop but don't, paths that slope upward even when the ceiling stays the same height. Every sense feels subtly off, like the labyrinth itself shifts around them. At last, the passage widens. The light from Alex's orb spills out into a circular chamber. The air changes immediately, colder, sharper, carrying the faint scent of ash and something metallic beneath it. They all stop. In front of them stand 3 doors, evenly spaced along the curved wall. Each one towers over them, massive, ancient, and carved from different materials. The first door on the left is made of solid black stone, its surface etched with melted symbols that still pulse faintly red, like dying embers. The middle one is metallic, silver gray, smooth and seamless, reflecting their lights like a mirror warped by time. The last, on the right, looks almost alive, crafted from some kind of dark wood that glistens wetly, as if it still breathes. Maeve breaks the silence first. The classic 3 doors. Bragg clicks his tongue. Classic labyrinth setup. One leads to treasure, one to death, one to... Stop guessing. Kyra cuts in sharply. We don't know anything yet. She turns to Varen. Can you sense what's behind them? Varen frowns deeply, raising his hand. A faint shimmer of mana extends from his palm. But the moment it brushes near the doors, it scatters, like dust blown away by unseen wind. No. The moment my mana touches them, it's gone. I probably need to get closer. Figures, Torrin mutters. This place really doesn't want us seeing ahead. Kyra sighs through her nose. Alex, what about you? Anything? Alex steps closer, his faint orb light spilling over the 3 doors. He studies them quietly, gaze lingering on the rightmost one. The battered, scarred wooden door that looks like it's been through 100 battles. Deep gouges mar its surface, and the edges seem half-burnt, half-rotted, as though it's been both frozen and scorched over time. The others wait for his answer. Kyra watches him with measured curiosity, Bragg with mild impatience. After a moment, Alex says simply, the right side looks promising. The words hang in the air. Everyone turns to look at him. Even Varen blinks. Bragg frowns and gestures at the door. You mean that one? The one that looks like it's been chewed on for a century. Kyra arches an eyebrow. You sure about that, Alex? Because if I were guessing, that thing screams, death trap. Maeve chuckles nervously. Yeah, right doors definitely got personality. I'd have gone with the shiny one, maybe even the left if I was drunk. But Alex doesn't waver. The right one's safer, he says quietly, as if it's the most natural thing in the world. Varen doesn't move right away. He steps forward instead, the faint gold light gathering in his palm again as he examines the 3 doors more closely. "Hold up," he says, crouching near the first door on the left, the one of black stone. "Let me check each one before we start guessing. These things weren't made to be picked at random." He starts with the left door, the one forged from solid black stone, its surface cracked and glowing faintly red. "This one's volatile," he murmurs. "The runes are fire-based, old-style formation glyphs, but the patterns are erratic. I think it's half dead, half active." Kyra peers over his shoulder, careful not to get too close. "Meaning?" Varen tilts his head, eyes narrowing as he studies the faint red glow. "Meaning if I try to open it with mana, it might trigger a reaction. Not an explosion exactly, more like a feedback surge. Could burn anyone within a few meters." Bragg grunts. "So, fiery death door. Got it. More or less," Varen says dryly, standing and brushing the dust from his gloves. He moves to the middle one, the metallic door that mirrors the light. "This one's different. The mana's smooth, steady. Feels like a mechanical lock reinforced by a formation rather than powered by it." He presses his palm against the cool surface. The reflection warps around his hand, rippling like liquid metal. "See that?" Still responding. "This one's intact. Probably meant to open through a sequence, maybe a puzzle or key inscription." Hello everyone, this is Shadow. Due to copyright restrictions on YouTube, I can't publish many of the audiobooks you love. That's why I've created a special paid service where you can enjoy over 300 high-quality audiobooks from platforms like Webnovel, Pocket FM, Audible, Wuxia, and more. Each novel comes as a one-time purchase, no subscriptions, no hidden fees. After payment, you'll receive full access via Telegram, along with all future updates for that novel. You'll find a wide selection of your favorite genres and titles, always in premium audio quality. Check the full list of available novels in the description. DM me now to get your favorite stories in audiobook form and start listening today.